When the stakes are real, you want a pistol that behaves the same way every single time. No surprises, no excuses. Today, I scrambled the usual lists and brought together 9 handguns you can actually depend on. Pistols that have seen service, taken abuse, and still ran when the lights went out. I'm not selling hype or internet flexes. I'll tell you what each gun is built to do, the real strengths and the obvious trade-offs, and where I'd issue or carry it. Stick with me, and you'll get honest pros, hard cons, and what matters most when it's your life on the line. Number 9. Walther PPQ M2. This one's a trigger-first pistol. Pick it up and it just feels right. The PPQ M2 is a full-size 9mm with roughly a 4-inch barrel and standard magazines that hold about 15+1. What sets it apart is the factory trigger. Short take-up, crisp break, and a reset that you can actually feel. That matters when you're running timed drills or trying to stitch accurate double taps under stress. Ergonomics are another strong suit. Walther carved that grip to naturally index your hand and align the sights without you having to fight it. Recoil is friendly, follow-ups are fast, and the platform is forgiving for newer shooters while still giving experienced hands everything they need. Downsides? It's not the aftermarket king, holster and parts selection isn't as massive as Glock or Sig. And some folks prefer a heavier slide for more felt recoil absorption on full power loads. Maintenance is simple. Clean the feed ramp and rails, keep the striker channel dry of buildup, and it'll keep eating brass. Where I'd use one: duty pistol on a clean gear list, range trainer for new shooters, or a reliable home defense gun if you like a great factory trigger out of the box. Ammo note: shoot good 9mm defensive loads for carry work, but the PPQ shows its best face with good match or duty ammo when you're practicing serious follow-ups. Number 8. CZ P10C. This is a compact that behaves like a full-size pistol when you need it to. The P10C is a striker-fired 9mm with about a 3.8-inch barrel and a 45-degree balance between slide mass and frame that keeps the muzzle from hopping all over the place. Magazines commonly hold 15 rounds, and the grip geometry indexes your hand naturally so your sight picture lines up without forcing you to change your hold. What stands out is the feel. The trigger is deliberate, with a clean break and a reset that's easy to feel under recoil. The texture on the frame gives real purchase without shredding your support hand, so when you're running multiple strings, you don't lose control. Reliability is rock solid. This platform was built to take commercial and duty ammo without drama. Trade-offs: it's not as ubiquitous for holsters and accessories as a Glock, and some shooters prefer a slightly lighter trigger for split-second defensive shots. Also, if you like slide-mounted optics, the suppression-ready or optics-ready variants cost a bit more. Maintenance-wise, keep the rails clean, check your extractor and recoil spring, and it'll keep eating rounds. Where I'd use it: concealed carry for someone who wants compact shootability, or as a backup duty gun that won't feel pokey on long shifts. It's a no-nonsense performer. Simple to run, simple to fix, and honest under stress. Number 7. Sig Sauer P320. The P320 is the Swiss Army knife of modern duty pistols. It's built to be changed up, and that's the whole point. Out of the box, it's a striker-fired 9mm, but the real trick is the modular fire control unit. Pull the chassis, and you can change grip modules, slide lengths, and calibers without swapping the whole gun. For agencies and shooters who want one platform to cover multiple roles, that flexibility is huge. On the range that translates to usable ergonomics across hand sizes, easy caliber changes for training or mission profiles, and magazines that typically run between 15 and 17 rounds depending on the specific model. The P320's recoil impulse is managed well for a polymer-framed duty pistol, and follow-ups are predictable once you learn the trigger, which, by the way, is a clean, consistent pull for this class. Pros: extreme modularity, broad aftermarket support, and plenty of factory configs from compact to full size. Cons: because you can swap so many parts, beginners sometimes end up chasing parts they don't need. And early production wrinkles got fixed, so buy current production or check for service updates. Maintenance is straightforward. Keep the chassis clean, inspect the ejector and striker channel, and replace springs on a sensible schedule. Where I'd use one, great as a primary duty gun for units that need commonality, or for a shooter who wants one platform to do everything from daily carry to competition by swapping modules. It's a smart choice if you value adaptability over tradition. Number 6. P226. If you want a pistol that feels like it was made to take a beating, the P226 is the textbook example. Full metal frame, substantial slide mass, and a mechanical design that soaks recoil. You pick this up, and you know it's not a toy. That extra weight helps keep follow-up steady when you run full-power duty loads. And for long shifts, the pistol's stability counts more than a sexy trigger pull. Mechanically, it's a double-action, single-action design with a decocker, so you can carry hammer down safely and still get a crisp single-action break after the first shot. That DASA setup was a favorite for SOF and federal teams because it gives you a conservative first strike option and a very controllable follow-up trigger. The P226's slide and frame geometry also handle adverse conditions well. Sand, salt, and sweat won't put it out of the fight if you keep basic maintenance up. Specs you'll care about: full-size 9mm with roughly a 4.4-inch barrel, standard magazines around 15+1, and a solid weight that translates to practical controllability with duty ammo. Pros: proven in harsh environments, rock-solid extraction and ejection, and a frame that refuses to flex under heavy use. Cons: it's heavier and bulkier than modern polymer compacts, so concealment is not its strong suit. And if you prefer striker-fired triggers, the DA first pull takes some training. My real-world tip: pick one up and run both light training ammo and real duty loads through it before you decide on sights or trigger work. The P226 rewards ammo that's built for purpose, good primers, consistent powders, and it will forgive a lot, but not lazy maintenance. Keep the rails lubed, the extractor clear, and rotate your recoil springs on a sensible schedule. Where I'd use it, issued sidearm for units that value durability and a conservative carry mode, or as a dedicated range competition gun if you like the feel of a full-metal service-grade pistol. It's a tool you trust when the environment gets nasty. Number 5. Heckler Koch USP. If you want a pistol that was designed to be beaten and still hand you rounds, the H&K USP is one of those rare service designs that actually delivers on that promise. Built with military and law enforcement grit in mind, the USP was engineered to survive mud, sand, extreme heat, and the kind of hard use that turns lesser pistols into headaches. Mechanically, it's robust. You get a steel slide and a strong alloy frame that give the gun real mass. That mass soaks up recoil and keeps the sights on target with heavier duty loads. The USP's modular controls let you run it DASA with a decocker or fitted with a manual safety, depending on how conservative you want your carry setup. That flexibility is exactly why units chose it. You can set it up to match training and policy, not the other way around. On the range, it feels steady. Typical full-size 9mm USP models use about a 4.25-inch barrel, and standard mags land around 15+1 in 9mm. If you step up to 40 caliber or 45, you feel the frame do its job. It keeps heavy recoil manageable compared with lighter polymer compacts. The trigger in single action is crisp. The double action first pull is long and deliberate, which some shooters prefer for a conservative first shot. Trade-offs: it's not the lightest carry option, and it won't win a popularity contest for holster availability the way a Glock does. Also, the DASA manual adds complexity compared with striker systems. You need consistent training to use it safely and effectively. Parts and guns are still available, but the USP lives in a different ecosystem than modern modular polymer pistols. Maintenance: basic and old school. Keep the slide rails clean, check the extractor, and don't ignore the recoil spring. These guns reward common-sense care. Run good duty primers and stiffer loads during break-in. and the USP will repay you with years of service. Where I'd use it, issued sidearm where policy calls for a conservative carry mode, and a metal frame feel. Think units that want a heavy, reliable service pistol that tolerates abuse. It's also a solid option for a serious shooter who wants a rugged range gun that will take full power loads without complaining. Number 4. Glock 19. If you want a handgun that's invisible until you need it and refuses to argue when you do, the Glock 19 is the baseline. Compact enough to carry every day, big enough to make follow-up simple, and stupid simple to maintain. That combination is why so many agencies and civilians trust it. The polymer frame keeps weight down, the grip geometry is broadly forgiving, and the slide profile is easy to clear from a holster under stress. What you feel when you pick one up is predictable consistency. The factory trigger is a serviceable striker system with a consistent pull and a safe action setup that removes external safeties you have to think about. Standard magazines are 15 rounds of 9mm. The overall package is optimized for reliability, parts availability, and a gigantic ecosystem of holsters, lights, sights, and mags. If you want accessories, Glocks are the highway. Trade-offs? The stock trigger isn't ever going to win a match. Some shooters find the grip angle and texture divisive, and it's so common that if you want to be unique, this isn't the conversation starter. But when the mission is works every day, anywhere, it earns that right. Maintenance is simple. Field strip, wipe rails, clean the breech face and the feed ramp, and keep a couple of spare recoil springs on hand. Real-world tip. Learn to run the gun with the magazine out for transitions and practice reloads with factory mags and a quality training mag. The Glock will thank you with countless trouble-free rounds. Where I'd use it, the do-everything carry gun. A patrol duty piece for departments that want interchangeability and parts commonality, or a defensive pistol for shooters who value low-fuss reliability. Number 3. Beretta 92 FS M9. The Beretta 92 FS is the classic service pistol that proved itself the hard way. Pick one up, and you immediately notice the open slide design. That open slide helps the gun run cleaner in marginal conditions and reduces the chance of stovepipes when you're feeding it different ammo types. Mechanically, it's a day adresse setup, a long, deliberate double-action first pull, then a crisp single-action break after the first shot. That first shot geometry forces you to train the trigger, which is a good thing when you want conservative first strike safety on the draw. On the range, the pistol tracks well for a full-size 9mm. You're looking at roughly a 4.9-inch barrel on the standard service model, with 15 + 1 rounds in the magazine. Pros: legendary reliability in military service, easy to maintain, and a frame that handles sustained fire without drama. Cons: it's a bit wide in the grip for some shooters, and modern optics mounting usually needs a slide plate or gun smithing. Also, the manual safety Tanja decocker layout isn't everyone's preference if you've trained on striker-fired controls. Maintenance tips: keep the slide rails and the feed ramp clean. Inspect magazines and springs regularly, and don't ignore the safety selector detent on older examples. Where I'd use it, as a reliable duty pistol where a robust, proven design is the requirement, or as a range gun for shooters who appreciate mechanical controls and a predictable follow-up behavior. Number 2. Smith & Wesson M&P9. The M&P9 is a duty-first striker-fired handgun that got its name for a reason: military and police. Out of the box, it's tuned for service use. A 4.25-inch barrel in the full-size configuration, 17 + 1 rounds in standard magazines, and a corrosion-tough finish on the slide. What matters in real work is the ergonomics. Interchangeable back straps let you tailor the grip to your hand so the sights come back to target faster, and the low-bore axis keeps muzzle flip mellow with fast follow-ups. Shooter notes: the factory trigger is perfectly functional, but a touch spongy for picky competitors. That's fixable with common trigger kits or a well-chosen service trigger job. The slide and frame geometry are designed for reliability. The M&P eats factory duty ammo and training rounds without drama if you keep mags and springs in good order. Maintenance is straightforward. Clean the feed ramp, inspect mags for wear, and rotate recoil springs on a sensible schedule. Where I'd use it: patrol duty, a department-issued piece where modular sizing matters, or a serious civilian who wants full-size capacity with police-grade durability. Pros: excellent ergonomics, proven reliability in the field, and huge parts holster support. Cons: stock trigger leaves room for improvement, and some shooters dislike the grip texture out of the box. Number 1. Colt 1911. The Colt 1911 is a historic hammer, John Moses Browning's design that the U.S. military adopted in the year 1911. But don't let the age fool you. A properly set-up 5-inch, single-action 45 ACP 1911 still points and breaks like nothing else. The trigger is short and crisp, and in trained hands that translates to surgical accuracy at typical engagement distances. Capacity is modest by modern standards. 7+1 or 8+1 rounds is common, but the 45 ACP cartridge is a heavy-hitting round, and the 1911's ergonomics deliver it in a controllable way. Why you'll still see it in serious hands: the 1911's simplicity and mechanical predictability. It's a steel-frame single-action design with a manual thumb safety and a short, consistent trigger that rewards practice. Downsides are obvious: lower magazine capacity, heavier weight compared with polymer compacts, and some examples need careful tuning of feed ramps and magazines to be 100% reliable with modern hollow points. Maintenance tip: fit magazines carefully, keep the feed ramp and chamber polished to a sensible finish, change springs on schedule, and if you're picky about reliability, break the gun in with a mix of full power and quality defensive ammo. Where I'd use it: a competition gun, a carry piece for someone who values single-action precision and a 45 hit, or a bedside home defense classic for a shooter who maintains their firearms meticulously. It's a tool that rewards attention. There you go. 9 pistols I'd trust on duty and in the worst shifts. Each one has real strengths and real trade-offs. Pick the one that matches your mission, train with it hard, and care for it like you mean it. Which of these would you stake your life on? Drop your pick in the comments and tell us why. Make sure you like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below. Stay sharp.